and then the number 2 out of the red stance will do the knockback. If you beads during the chain, you will not get knocked up nor knocked back. However, you will still eat the first 2 hits. So tier, rather particularly strong against characters with beads, but you know, all the same, it's really more accurate to say he still gets his damage with his control, even if you have beads, but he doesn't necessarily control.
Left side deals a blob, heart bomb, backflip comes out. The heart bomb's not going to get it. Backflip comes. Does he have it? Knocks up from Bacchus, but the dunk from the somersault Cloud comes out. First blood goes to Cloud9 HyperX. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the first kill of the game.
And there it is. First blood goes the way of Cloud9 HyperX. Sun touch, somersault Cloud out of the top. Does so much damage, and you never really want to deal with your team losing first blood when the enemy team has a Freya. And now it's going to be Sayo rotating over to help out Frostyak. The kitties just so hard to take down. They just, it seems like every 3 or 4 months we just buff the cats so that they're harder and harder to kill. And they've really now gotten to the point where you have to basically run for them. I think that's likely why EU is being so respectful of the Bastet. I mean, they're picking her in basically every game here in the finals and even through the round of 4. And you can see just there, I mean, even with a god like Agni, who's known for his magical damage output at all stages of the game, it still has trouble really effectively clearing them out.
Yeah, I mean, those cats are always something you have to deal with early on, and you know, it's a strange transition for the ultimate, the cat call from Bastet, because early game they're incredibly powerful, mid game they're not so great, and late game they're actually still powerful if you wait long enough. You wait till the end of the team fight, or when the team fight is split and it's small skirmishes, they still do a lot of work. And you know, if you wait till the team fight's over, all the abilities are gone, people are on cooldown, they're just kind of running around and hoping to stay alive, and all of a sudden the cats come out, it can make a very, very big difference there. We're going to see Heart Bomb left side, going to clear this out. Actually, the Stone of Gaia is completed now for Zalia in the solo lane up against Game Hunter, making sure he has that protection and regeneration. And now he's looking for possibly a little HP or maybe some damage here starting out. The regeneration is going to help him a lot. Of course, if you're looking at the passive Stone of Gaia, regenerates 2% of your maximum HP every 5 seconds, plus 28.5 HP 5, and plus 10 MP 5 plus magic protection. So it's going to keep him safe and keep him healed up. As long as Raw doesn't get a kill, he'll be able to regenerate back up. Frostyak, she's looking for it. She wants the kill here. Game Hunter kind of hanging out, playing safe. Gets the banish, possibly. Banish misses.
Oh, Frostyak, please. So they are going to miss that opportunity. Now they know also where Freya is, which should allow Bastet to play pretty aggressively towards this mid lane. In fact, see QO Fred shading over that way. But Sun Touch is there and says, I see you, because he is rotating over for the mid camps where aggressive positioning from TSM, but they've left the right side open, so they're not going to really punish this Frostyak rotation. He's going to be able to pick those up as well, and if Sun Touch can do exactly what it did there and steal away those mid camps, they'll take both of them on this rotation, and that's going to give them 700 gold in their advantage, as well as 2,000 experience is going the way of Cloud9 HyperX at this point in the game, and that's not all just from First Blood. They've really just been getting more out of the map than Team Solo Mid.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just getting those mid camps can make a huge difference. Honestly, if everything's even across the board and you're getting mid camps, you're going to go much further ahead than you actually realize if you put it down on paper here. Eye of Providence 3 has been finished by Suntouch, considering the fact that he did get first blood for this game. Got a little bit boosted goal, and he's going to spend that on support for his team. Midas Boots has been finished off immediately, able to finish that off for himself. Of course, across the way, we have Heartseeker completed for Youngbane, Heartseeker completed for Smek as well, so a big benefit there. We're going to see Trickstank go for Watcher's Gift into Midas Boots. He has the opportunity to just get tons of gold and just start piling that up. Sometimes looking for opportunity to ward. He's going to get a free ward out of that one. Good placement. You know, the way he places ward, he either gets a ward in the mid lane, a ward in front of the Gold Fury, or just has a good ward placement overall. So I like that kind of middle ground placement there. On the right side, we see Tyr forcing back the wave here being placed down by Game Hunter. Game Hunter, you know, honestly, he's still having a good shot. And I still question this Stone of Gaia left side opportunity for a kill.
Very low. Ooh. Yes, Valkyrie's discretion is enough. Trickstank, he's going to throw it in a toxic for good measure, but it's not going to get a kill just yet. It will slow them down, however, for the Zeus rotation. Lobster on his way. Bass on her way as well. They may have overstayed their welcome. A banish comes out onto the Zeus. Suntouch now going to stay right there in front. Kite away from the Zeus, and now it may be Cloud9's turn to turn this around. Here comes the Zeus ultimate, doing a lot of damage to Suntouch. This is going to be the end of Sun Wukong. Cuba Fed rotating in as well. Can he find any more? Frostyak, yeah, that's going to be a very, very dead Freya. The Neath ultimate not even going through. Here's Sayo, though. That's going to be a kill on to the tank, and now Sayo trying to get away from kitties. This may be too much damage for him to deal with. Smek forced to retreat and help him out to keep those off of his mid laner. All things told, it's a 2-for-2 trade at the end of the day, but a support and a jungler traded for a support and a lane carry. And they give some kills to Zeus as well. I think at the end of the day, that trade goes away with TSM.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're sitting in the graph right now. It's definitely, well, it's actually in C9's favor. I think, overall, the game just stands out. TSM gets the lead, but right now C9 is going to get a little bit of gold to help them out and boost up the control overall. So I think getting off that Neath really helped, but the problem is Neath was able to, actually, the Neath ultimate didn't make it there in time. So if Frey went down, so no assist coming out for Neath or kill there. So that's going to be a little bit of detriment for the farm there. Across the way, we saw Azalea actually almost drop down to the kill of the damage output there from Game Hunter. The problem is with Stone of Gaia and then the cleave from Garstance, Lobster dropping low, does he have enough? That's just dead Lobster right there. That's just cooked seafood. Fox to the river. Bastet, can she get the distance?
Nope. Valkyrie's discretion gonna keep him away from that as Snipe comes out from Game Hunter. Frostiak survives with approximately 1 HP. I mean, that Snipe was right on, and you just get the feeling if that would have been Zalia, it would have just somehow killed.
Just added.
It would have just added about 3% extra damage, so it would have secured the kill. I also want to point out, speaking of Zalia, it's a blink tier that they're going to be running here.
It's got to be. It's so hard to deal with. It's so hard to deal with.
Look at Lobster. He's like, okay, fine. He's going to go combat blink as well on Zeus. He doesn't want any of that blink tier.
Now, honestly, the Purification Beads Combat Blink for mages in the mid lane is kind of a staple, right? Unless you're going up against something that requires a different active item, generally you'll see mid laners go for that Purification Beads Combat Blink because it's such a safe combo. You can, reduce your cooldowns by 5 seconds, have CC immunity and remove CC from yourself, and of course blink away if you get into a bad position. And that makes most mages safe. Now, of course, if you run up against an enemy team where they have a lot of burst and you want the Aegis Pendant or Aegis Amulet, but it's pretty common to see this kind of combination come out here. Lobster going to take some harassment here from Sile in the mid lane. Right side tier going to push up against Game Hunter. You're trying to get something out of this exchange, but I mean, there's not a whole lot of kill potential in the right lane. Tier is so safe, and Raw safe as well. Guardstand's Cleave does have the added benefit of that sort of guy now going into boost for damage. Sovereignty 1 has been started here for Suntouch, but Frostiak's on his way with that core.
Yeah, Frostiak, getting there. Fatalis, it's going to be coming around. He's sitting on 1,000 gold in his hand. He's only about 800 away from finishing up that Fatalis, and then he'll be looking likely for Demonic Grip or potentially Gem of Isolation, although that's definitely the less, I guess, prioritized build. Right side lane, I don't expect very much to happen at all. Tier and Raw both just so tanky. It's nothing like the matchups we've seen Raw have before, where he was just, he had the massive burst damage kind of leverage over the enemy god, who was really more of a later in the game damage style carry. Lobster in a lot of trouble though. Sayo gonna dash away. There is an ultimate, and there is a lot of damage from Lobster. Cubo Fred combining for that with Lobster and Young Bay from the side. Here's a Fields of Love though. It's not gonna find anybody. It's gonna keep Suntouch safe, but it's not gonna be enough to really continue initiating here as Game Hunter's rotated as well. Suntouch disengaging, 4 in the mid, barely missing that snipe onto the Wukong. Here comes Tier, but I think it's too little too late from Zalia. They're not going to have an opportunity to re-engage. Another fight won by TSM. Yeah, a little bit more there. As you see, the graph reflects that, drops right down a little bit closer to the mid-level, but of course experience is vastly in favor of C9 right now. That's going to pay off in droves. Raw trying to get the snipe, of course. Sun Wukong not really susceptible to that, very, very defensive. But you can see the effectiveness of Neath now. And, previously Neath has kind of fallen off in the competitive scene on both regions, actually. People, NA definitely favors Apollo, EU definitely favors on her, and of course you still have, the reciprocal of that. You also have some of the other characters kind of making their way in. Cupid, of course, today. And surprisingly enough, Neath has been kind of forgotten in the last few months. But with that World Weaver, I mean, it's that extra added element, right? So you see the gank come in and someone escapes with a few extra HP, or you just need something to secure it. I mean, even solo, if you're an Ao Guang and there's Neath on your team, they land a Neath ultimate, you prime your ultimate right when it's about to land, boom, free kill. I mean, that kind of combination, is, as long as you have the good communication, is incredibly powerful. Gold Fury area kind of being controlled by Trickstack, mid camps being started up here. Heart Bomb on the block is, we might have a fight. Yeah, it looks like they want to fight at least. There's going to be a Lobster ultimate coming out. They're going to stun out Suntouch, but they're going to eat a Fields of Love and an Agni Bomb. Lobster going to beads it while backpedaling, though. TSM takes yet another engagement. They're going to draw this game damn near even. Gold basically all squared. Experience still going the way of Cloud9 HyperX as Tier is putting a hurting onto this right side of Tier 1. Solo Island might end in flames as he's trying to get this tower. He does have the regeneration on his side. A few more shots. He's taking a lot of damage here. Searing Pain comes out, does hit, but he's very taken. Look at that heal from Guard Stance. Cleave forces away Bastards here. Does she have the distance? Ninetale not going to land as he blinks away.
For those of you in chat are wondering, let's go ahead and clear this up really quickly. The blink that Tyr has cannot be used in combat. He must not take damage or give damage for 3 seconds straight. Before he's able to blink there, and that was honestly right on the dot. The second 3 seconds went by without any damage being exchanged, he's like, I'm out, see ya, I'm done.
Yeah, and you can't spam that, right? Because if you spam it, you end up auto-attacking, which will slow your movement speed by 50%. Right. So he's basically just, he has his finger sitting over that key, and the second he sees it come off cooldown, it's going in for that blink. Frostyak sitting on 1,700 gold in pocket, plus a Fatalis too, which means that he is achieved his core build basically here. He'll have Fatalis 3, plus probably Demonic Grip rank 2, or a, let's see what he likes to go for here before we continue on. Yeah, it'll be Demonic Grip 1 with a Haste and Fatalis for him. So core build nearly online for Freya. She's going to turn the corner here and start doing a lot of damage very, very shortly. Good news also for Cloud9 HyperX. Smek, no deaths yet, 3 assists on the Cupid, 6,800 gold farm. But Young Bae, of course, a little bit behind, unfortunately, even with a kill, but has 2 deaths to his name as well. And, you know, TSM is seeming to do pretty well, but maybe not quite as good as Cloud9 did with the Basset Neath combination.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big reason for their victories here in the small fights that are taking place. You see Frosty actually finish off that Hasten Fatalis, now going into Demonic Grip. And these 3 items, Shoes of the Magi, Fatalis of either form, with whatever school of thought you follow, and the Demonic Grip, those 3 items together make Freya devastating, and she's looking to finish those off quite quickly. Demonic Grip, notably a little bit more expensive than some of the other items, but does have a lot going for it. Magic damage, attack speed, penetration. It has a lot on its billet. So once that item is finished, it's going to be very, very effective. Cupid in the left lane forcing Young Bae back here, make sure this wave does get healed up. And with that blue buff, Smek can just, I mean, look how much. He just gave himself about 450 HP just with those hearts. Mid camps will go the way of C9. I'll look at the graphs right now. It's back in favor of C9, 1,200 gold. We saw it even out there, like you mentioned, but TSM is kind of a little bit lax on the mid camps, and that's going to be a big source of income for C9.
Yeah, C9 just continues to get more out of the map. We've said it kind of in every game that they've been matched up with TSM for some time now. I mean, they're really, really good at farming this map up, and they've secured these mid camps time and time again, as you mentioned. And just looking at the general net worths, I mean, a couple of gods, Sion Zayla sitting around 8K, where, you're still about 200-300 gold off of that 8K mark over here for Cuba, Fred, and Game Hunter. So, right now it's not a big deal, but as the game continues, and that 300 gold lead will become a 500 gold lead, then a 700 gold lead, then 1,000. Eventually, you'll get to the point where it's an item or a half an item difference between those 2 roles. And when you're looking at, Bastet versus maybe Frostyak in the jungle, where Basset currently ahead by a couple hundred gold, it could make a big difference. In fact, speaking of Cuba, Fred, on that Bastet, secures a kill onto Cupid. The Kitty's just being such a dominant force today.
Well, I think it's just damage output overall. I mean, Cupid, was able to activate Purification Beads and Sprint. He had his ultimate, he had his Flutter, and he just wasn't fast enough. Bastet, of course, able to get close enough with the jump. Damage over time effect was there. And the Cats did damage, but were eventually just outrun by the sheer speed of somehow the smallest quadriceps ever known to man on Cupid, able to get some distance there as he flutters away. But, at the same time, it's just pure damage output. Cupid Fred level 15 versus Smek level 15.
He's powered by
the gold
love.
Difference, 8,400 gold versus 7,800 gold there on Cupid. It's about a 600 gold difference, and Basset just so good at chasing down characters and getting the kill. Frostyak in trouble here, trying to get out. Actually, they could have even gone for that. Forcing an ultimate, that's a huge win for them. That is now going to be on cooldown. If they want to go for Gold Fury, it certainly is an option.
One thing we haven't really touched on, but is, I think, a surprisingly big deal here, is that Zayla has outpushed Game Hunter. Tyr versus Ra, that is 10-0. Ra has the superior push. But Zalia's Tyr is able to make it happen. And that's really credit to the rest of the team. In the first game, it was kind of the Zalia show where his Ra was just being so spectacular. But in this game, the rest of Cloud9 HyperX has forced out some Game Hunter rotations, enough such that they've let their Tyr win the lane against a Ra in terms of the push war. And that is a really, really nice amount of play. And now Zalia's quickly getting to the point where he is pretty much unkillable. Tyr's passive making it so that he can only be CC'd for 1 second at a time, plus the massive amounts of mitigation from Urchin and Stone of Gaia, what they're bringing to the table. Plus, the Urchin, of course, is going to scale as he gets more kills and assists all around the board. Cloud9 HyperX seems to be, once again, better poised to hit this mid-game timing, but TSM has shown throughout this early game they are able to battle back from behind.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have talented players. There's no doubt about that. Everyone knows that these are the players to watch. it just seems like the team play is so much stronger on C9 and TSM. They make the plays overall, but it's just like those small oversights. And that's why it's so hard, speaking of hard mid lane, loss are forced back here, take a lot of harassment from C9's rotation. Tier going to walk over into Bastet as well, Razor Claws, Ninetales. But to the point, I mean, it's hard to look at this and think that these players are well matched because of the difference. I mean, a small change can skew out of control, right, and make a huge difference and make it seem like there's a big disparity, but there really isn't. These teams are very, very close in skill level. It just comes down to a few mistakes that get extrapolated over time.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of snowball potential, right? It's the little mistakes. Speaking of little mistakes, Sio a little bit moving into the lane, but dashes right out of there. They're going to fire off the Neath ultimate anyway, and that is good news for Cloud9 HyperX. They know the Neath ultimate is down. Sio can play aggressively now. Lobster has aggressive positioning. Game Hunter's rotated in. The rest of the team's got to be coming soon. Trickstake trying to zone out Frostyak because if Frostyak joins this fight, Freya's damage could easily turn it. TSM does a very nice job of zoning Cloud9 out. They find the mid camp, so they get some pressure on the mid lane, and all they end up using is a Neath ultimate. While an important one, it is worth it to secure both the mid camps, which they will do here, which will give them their first lead of the game in experience and gold. TSM has brought this one all the way back from nearly a 2,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, you see the little roller coaster on the graphs there, going up and right back down to even. So TSM has pulled it back from the dead here with those big rotations. And, you know, keep this in mind as well, Bart. This is tied up, and TSM's down one tower, which means if they even out the towers, they'll be 1,000 gold in the lead. So a big difference there for TSM as it slightly goes back at C9 fair, but again, the tower difference is in favor of C9, even though TSM is able to balance it out. The Gold Fury is being started up here by C9. Trickstank's on his way. Does he have tier 3? This is the third time they've leashed Gold Fury, and this is what I'm talking about it being top tier. You have literally 5 to 15 seconds to kill the Gold Fury, because if you don't do it in that time period, someone's going to wander over and smell it. They're like, someone's doing Gold Fury, I feel it in my bones, and they're going to walk over, they're going to spot it out, even with the wards, and they're going to prevent it. Initiation, Neath, ultimate, Frostjak's going to get blocked by Sio, but doesn't save his life, as of course the last hit does pick off Freya there. Belch of the Gods is available, Intoxicate, Bastet, Fields of Love, Sio in trouble, Bastet jumps away with a heart bomb, might be enough, Cubo survives, but Cupid's twerking his way over there. Can he get there in
what
time?
A dodge by SMITE.
Does he have it? Does he have the distance? Cupid wants Ring around the Rosie. The jump back is still available. Does he go for it? Does he not?
Nah.
I don't know why he didn't jump back there. He's CC immune.
Zalia getting, a little bit of harass on the right side lane as well. A really nice dodge there by the Cupid, though. You saw him dodge out that Ninetales slow from Bastet that really allowed him to continue the pressure on. Looks like TSM wants to pressure down. Speaking of pressure, this right side lane, but Zalia will have none of it. Pushing the minions out of the way of the tower, and he's going to hold this for now. Looking at the graphs, it looks like Cloud9 has gotten the better of TSM yet again. They're taking back the lead. However slightly, but top farm in the game going the way of Cubo Fred now on that Bastet, and Bastet definitely has the output and scaling to carry this game.
Yeah, the damage that scales very quickly, and like you said, Bastet almost a carry, a hard lane, which means just basic attacks, and it's strange to see a physical caster like Bastet transcend into more of a basic attacks based carry late stage. That Razor Claws is it's the thing of nightmares when she gets farmed up enough, because it just ticks and ticks and ticks, and you feel like there's nothing you can do, and really there isn't a whole lot besides buy a physical protection and hope for the best. We're going to see Zalia pick up the MLC of Renewal here and see if he can lock that down for a little bit of CDR. And honestly, they may be missing Zalia's damage in these big team fights, but then again, they do have Freya, Agni, and Cupid, who's about to finish a Deathbringer, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, Deathbringer once again coming out here pretty early for SMITE, but Youngbei is keeping up this time, and Youngbei has the Jotun's Wrath versus the Aussie, so what he lacks in terms of pen and attack speed and lifesteal that the Aussie is granting, he does have in CDR and flat pen coming out. In fact, Aussie, however, giving a bit more than Jotun's Wrath giving some CDR as well as the mana with the pen, so I do think SMITE has a more powerful build here with the Boots 3 plus the Aussie, a lot more flat pen, Heartseeker stacked up, and the Deathbringer is going to be hitting hard for him. Zalia going to go for the MLC of Renewal there, and Rada Tahuti finished on Sio. The bomb's now hurt. Freya finished the core build. Cloud9 HyperX ready to tee off. Can TSM hold them out until they get their own items up and running and try to take this game back by force?
You know, at this point of the game, 23 minutes in, these differences are just nothing. It's just next to nil. I mean, we have 800 gold. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. Tricksting and take some harassment from the very, very attack speed central Freya. They're able to shred damage off of even someone like Trickstink on Bach is very, very tanky. The gold free started for the 4th time in a row without being picked off. And of course, Trickstink smells it and comes over. He's looking for the opportunity to jump in to get this steal. Good stun from Sile might be enough. Gold free still available. Bassett jumps in. Feels the love coming out there. Tier jumping in, looking for opportunity to grab up Lobster. Purification Beast gets activated. The detonate comes through, but doesn't do a whole lot. The cat's fine. Frostiak, but Smek interferes. Bassett jumps in, doesn't have the distance, jumps right back over. So far, it's a 1-for-0 exchange in favor of C9. Looking for opportunity to get another kill here. Game Hunter going backwards. Bastet goes down to Sayo. A 2-0 exchange plus the Gold Fury. C9 is now in the lead, 2,700 gold, about to be 3,700 as that tower is about to be taken out. C9, ladies and gentlemen, bringing this back yet again.
Sayo did so much damage to that engagement there. He just did such work. That Ratatouille being finished, such a good timing. Frostiak as well puts out a monster amount of damage in that fight. They now have the 3,500 gold advantage, 3,500 experience as well. They're going to find Game Hunter. Not before he takes out Frostiak, though. Heart Bomb going to secure that. So they trade 1-for-1. Definitely not a good one, Freya for Rob, but it's going to be the blink-in stun into Fearless combo for Zalia. Down will go the Zeus. The trade continues to go in favor of Cloud9 HyperX, and the grass continue to build in their favor. They have taken this game over. They own the mid game now. Can TSM find a way back into it to keep their tournament hopes alive?
And that's exactly right. I mean, the tournament hopes are right on this game for TSM. And C9, you know, you got to put it into the mentality aspects where they're thinking, we're up game 1. Even if TSM pulls this out, we have a lead right now. Even if they pull this out, we can go to game 3 and still come back with a very, very strong victory. So, I mean, C9, they're not sweating. They're completely comfortable. They're hanging back. If they win here, you know, that's great. If not, they're not really sweating it too much. Where TSM thinking, okay, we finally leveled it out. I mean, look at the graph right now. It goes up to C9's favor, comes right back down to 0. C9 gets a victory, goes back to 0. And all of a sudden, C9 gets a small one, and boom, skyrockets right back up. They got a mid tower. They got a Gold Fury. They got a bunch of kills. C9 is not a team you have to, that you have to pay attention to. I mean, you have to tread lightly with everything that you do, because if you make a small mistake, you're thinking, okay, if I misstep a few steps here, there's no way they're going to recognize it, but they do. They see exactly where you're going. The second you're in the wrong position by a few steps, they're going to grab you, they're going to kill you, they're going to get a couple objectives.
So, if Frostiak's going to go Ratatouille here over the Polynomicon. Polynomicon, of course, adds more damage to your in-hand attacks when activating an ability. Ratatouille is going to make that ultimate hit for a lot harder, and that's got to be what Frostiak is looking at. Like, hey, look, I'm not really able to stand in these team fights and put in my pulse or radiate damage for my in-hand attacks, so Polynomicon is not going to be the ideal way to go here. It's going to be Ratatouille, and once I have Ratatouille finished, even though it's so expensive, my damage output should be high enough that I can stand in the fights, and then Polynomicon is going to be all the better. So I really like that itemization from Frostiak at this stage in the game, given how it's going.
Yeah, it's going to make a big difference for him, and you know, like I said, it's going to change his team fight overall, and that's always the biggest problem with Freya is, you know, do you go for high magic damage? And then previously, when you know, there was a split between magical and physical, you can go for Heartseeker, Doom Orb. That used to be a build that was so much fun to play with on Freya because you could do so much with it. Neat ultimate coming through. Does Freya block? It looks like they're actually going to hit Sun Wukong here in the jungle and force that one out. Looks like he's going to take that. I don't know if that was even that must have been accidental. It's too hard for me to predict that angle. Belch the Gods Fist, the Gods, Sun Touch taking some harassment here. Back over the wall is Cubo Fred slowed there. The Purification Beast will buy some time. Look at how much damage those bombs do. Cubo Fred forced to retreat. Fist the Gods. There goes Valkyrie's Discretion. Lobster blinks out. There's Game Hunter by himself surrounded. There's the guard stance. Activation now into assault stance here, forcing this away. Game Hunter solo into the wall, juggled up and smacked down. Tyr gets the kill, and Game Hunter goes down. Mid lane, Ogden goes down as well. Fluttering in is the Cupid. Little baby Cupid gets the cat. Heart Bomb is going to get this. Actually, will do about 45 damage there. Trickstink by himself, tanky enough to get away. The tower is now under pressure.
Wow. Trickstink actually gets a big time intoxicate on 4 players. It's going to be cleansed by Smek, but the Chain Lightning finds Freya at the back of that fight, taking her down. Mail of Renewal Zalia, basically full HP and mana. From between the Stone of Gaia giving a percentage HP regen, 2% every 5 seconds, plus the 25 HP 5, 10 MP 5 that it gives, and the Mail of Renewal giving back 10% of maximum health and mana every time he gets a killer assist. Every 5 seconds that he's able to do it, it's just big time regen from the tier. And there you saw it. I mean, he blinks in, takes care of the Raw, and then falls back into the fight at basically full health, not a scratch on him. Combat blinks are up and running now from TSM on both Game Hunter and Lobster. Lobster's had it for a while. It's a new acquisition by Game Hunter. And Game Hunter just doesn't seem to have the same kind of damage output. I mean, looking at this point in the game, I take that back. He's sitting at 13k, so he's actually done really, really well for himself, but just hasn't seemed to hit those big snipes and clean up those fights. At really the end of team fights is where we saw Xaylia being so potent, just finding that last snipe and really bringing gods down and really being a big morale killer. But, not to say Game Hunter hasn't been very effective here, but he's going to go Obsidian Shard over to Hootie. So damage output going to be, significantly lower until about maybe 35 or 40 minutes into the game where we'll get to Hootie as well. Cloud9 going to start up on the Gold Fury again. TSM doesn't want any of it as they're rotating over Dry Bear. Looks like we're going to have a fight.
Well, they're going to leash that one and just back out. It doesn't look like they're really ready to jump in on this one 100%. There's the blink. Fields of Love. Heart Bomb. Jumping on top. Does he have a blink? It shouldn't be off cooldown just yet. Ultimate comes down. He can't get out of this one. Lobster most likely to go down. He's still alive. The dunk comes out. Frosty gets the kill. The charge did not detonate on that one. Cubo Fred by himself. Neath ultimate. Gonna hit Xaylia in the backside. Sun Touch backing up. Cubo Fred by himself. The Razor Claws come out. Searing pain coming through. And there goes the kill on Augie. Frosty Axe down. Xaylia's looking for a kill. Spirit Arrow's going to root him in place, but we see Cupid go down as well. TSM making a comeback here. Just Xaylia by himself, surrounded. So Wukong has already retreated. Tier 1 tower is not safe. Tier 2 tower may be safe. They have a Spirit Arrow root. They just need a few more damage. There it goes.
There it is.
A 4-for-1 turnaround for Team Solo Mid. They're going to get a tower and possibly the Gold Fury.
What phenomenal play by Team Solo Mid there. They're going to find some big-time kills on the back of that. Even though during that fight, the Sun Wukong decoy blocked a Neath ultimate accidentally, but coincidentally, TSM able to continue that fight, take it down, a 4-for-1 trade. They're going to make their way into the Fire Giant. Lobster, brilliant kiting during that play, put down the ultimate, survived for much longer than he had any right to, honestly. Suntouch is sitting on Hand of the Gods 3, so there's an opportunity to steal this. Boar Form very, very good at stealing objectives, but he has been forced to use Bird. Coming around the side, Suntouch has to get in there. He's too late. Now he may get locked out into his death. No ultimate available for the Sun Wukong. Knocked up. Damage coming through. The snipe as well. He's going to go down to Razor Claws, and that is a 5-man wipe delayed, plus a Fire Giant. TSM taking this thing back to even yet again for the second time today. They have pulled the gold dead even and have the experience advantage.
They certainly do, and this is why we're in the grand finals. These two teams are so good at this game, and you see C9 get a little bit too greedy there in their placement. Smek, notably, was not really in a great spot to help his team out. In fact, he's going to be the most farmed in the game, and as soon as Smek got picked off early, or got forced out early and then picked off a little bit later into the team fight, that was just curtains for C9. They just needed that damage, that rotation, that Fields of Love, and I think it all started, Xaylia jumped in there. He got the blink, he got the juggle, went in on top of it. We saw Zeus get pushed out really, really hard. Lobster ended up going down there, but all of a sudden, TSM just brings it together, and that kind of coordination is what you'd expect from Team Solo Mid, and they're going to bring it out here. Now, keep in mind, Team Solo Mid won the end of the 2013 tournament. They were the #1 place. They were able to pick that up and get the victory. And C9, going into 2014 with his path to 100K, the first 2 weeks have been playing very, very well. TSM won last week, so now we're going to Game 2 of the Grand Finals. C9 is up 1 game, and TSM thinks, let's show the fans something. Let's bring out some action. Let's bring out some blood. Let's give them a good game, and that's exactly what we have right here. They're in the lead now, 1,800 gold, Tier 2 tower about to go down, a big team fight about to start up here.
Xaylia going to get stunned out up in front, but he is really just there soaking up damage because he wants the stats to go up. No way they're holding that tower. Down it goes, staring in the face of 5 Fire Giant buff active Team Solo Mid players. They're going to fall back, farm up the map a little bit, and look to push into this mid lane here. They want to get rid of the rest of the towers on this map, and it looks like they're going to make their way all the way to the right side, where they will be just backdooring this first tower on the right side, at least for the moment. Bacchus will tank it up, no problem. Cloud9 sniffs it out. They'll be there and attempt a defense this time. Now TSM doesn't have a creep wave, and they made a long journey over here. C9 seems perfectly happy to just defend their Tier 2. They'll let this Tier 1 go, Dry Bear, but if you are TSM, you continue in here. No creep wave, but with a Fire Giant buff to tank it up against a full 5-man Cloud9, it seems like a really easy way to give your advantage back.
Yeah, I mean, that's the delicate part about this, is that they misstep or misuse their ability. And this is kind of the misnomer about the Fire Giant buff that a lot of people may not understand, is that just because you have Fire Giant doesn't necessarily mean you need to use it. And you'll see teams think, oh, I have a minute left on the Fire Giant buff, I have to fight now. That's not necessarily the case. They want to make sure this engagement is good as the highest priority. They don't want to do anything here. And this is exactly how you play from a small lead like this. Just go for a tower, back off. Go for a tower, back off. Start stacking up the gold. Look at the graph right now. It was 4,000 in favor of C9 and just chunk. Now we have 6,000 in favor of TSM. It's going to be 7,500 when this tower goes down. There it goes. The graph's going to update there. 7,600 total for TSM in the lead. And they're not trying to engage. They get the Fire Gem. They get the towers, they get the Gold Fury, they get the buffs, and they're just kind of waiting. You know, if C9 comes, we'll back off, but all we're trying to do is just get the gap between us and C9 bigger and bigger and bigger and give us a 100% chance of winning the next fight without giving anything away to C9. And honestly, it's more of a respect play. Tread lightly, give C9 the respect they deserve, but also play for the win.
Now, we do have a little bit of a lull in the action, so I'll take a quick moment to give a shout out to Torch. They did take down the third place standing this week, beating out Team Q, who will be taking fourth. So congratulations to Torch, and back to Cloud9 versus TSM here. As TSM is leaving the base, we do have a pause coming out by SMITE. We've heard that this is a fairly short one, guys, but we'll be bringing you all the action as soon as this one wraps up. It seems like a good time now to talk about some of the other great stuff going on around SMITE. There is the SMITE Pro Twitter, which we encourage you to follow. Twitter.com/SmitePro to get all the updates about the action around the league, all of the games, and all the upcoming activities and events, plus probably some